Hey everybody, David here from Learn Stage Lighting with another lighting challenge. Now, for those of you who may or may not be familiar, these lighting challenges are just a place and a time where I go in here and I create a lighting design for kind of general use. I'm going to apply it to a couple different circumstances, a couple different types of lighting here today. And I do it based on the parameters that you guys let me know below. Okay, so in the comments, last time I did this, I got a number of great ideas, and feel free to leave more of those here today. Also, if you're new here, be sure you subscribe to Learn Stage Lighting and like this channel so I can send you more great stuff and teach you how to get the most out of your lighting. Because ultimately, in lighting, getting the most is not really about buying things usually. It's about using it incredibly well, and I want to show you how to do that here. So, lighting challenge under $1,000. I'm actually the person who asked this, I think, said 1,000 euros, $900. Is that right? I don't know. But I said $1,000 because I'm here in the US and that's a little simpler. And this is not an easy challenge, okay? This is actually really difficult, but let me walk you through what I did. So this setup, this first setup that you see here is kind of a general band lighting setup. And what I did here, sorry for my Alt-Tab menu there. What I did here is I got on the front light here, these guys, I'll flash them up and down, 4 par 38s and a dimmer pack. Because ultimately, when I think about lighting people from the front, whether it's a band, whether this is a church stage with a worship band and a preacher, whether this is a very low budget corporate event, whether this is, any type of music or anything like that, you want to get the front light right so that the people on stage can be seen and can communicate clearly. Okay, so that's always, 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 always my first priority. And par 38s, a conventional lighting unit, are a great way to do this because they're cheap. I mean, they're like $30 a pop, and then I can plug 4 of them into a dimmer pack, get 4 different channels of control, and I'm good to go, right? I've got a nice warm front light that doesn't break the bank. I would not advise for front light. I always tell people this. Don't buy cheap LEDs for front light because they make people look like ghosts or like they're sick or something. It never looks good. Okay, you got to buy good white LEDs if you want good front light out of an LED. But something like a par 38, I mean, it takes 100 watts, so it's not sucking a lot of power, and it works. Okay, now the other thing I've done here is I've brought in the proscenium stage that's built into the capture visualizer here. That's what I'm using here is capture. I get that question a lot. And here's an article that'll pop up on the side here on Learn Stage Lighting that talks more about visualizers and which one I use and why. But I've taken this stage, this built-in stage, say you're playing on a theater stage, but if you've only got $1,000 to own some lights, make that stage smaller. Because if you took this same lighting package and put it on this full-size stage, it would look pathetic. But you focus the audience in on the smaller stage, draw the curtains in if you can, and that's going to give you more bang for your buck, okay, to be in a smaller space. So, again, the 4 par 38s, the 4 par 38s on the front, they can be pretty much any brand. You can find them used maybe, save some money, with the dimmer pack. So that equals about $250. Then on the back, with my remaining, I've got 620 remaining. I've put in 4 of these Eliminator lighting trio pars, okay? And so these guys are pretty cool. Let me just show you real quick here. They have 2 elements to them, okay? Actually, really 3 elements. And you can control them all separate, which is cool. So the first thing that they have here, just to turn them back on, is they have this center LED that's just white. It's kind of these strobe LEDs actually around the outside. Let me pull up a picture right here. This is the Trio Par LED. And so by Eliminator. And these guys, they don't cost that much in the real world. I'll have a link below to Amazon where you can buy them. But these guys have this ring of white LEDs in the center, which is just kind of like a strobe or a cool white element. So that's one element that you can get out of these pars. The next element you can see around in the very center, is a color mixing LED with a big lens. Okay. And then you can control separately the outer LEDs too. There's actually a 26 channel mode that allows you to do stuff like this to really get fine control of almost pixels. But even if you keep it in the 9 channel mode, which I've got here, you get control of those strobes, you get control of that center LED, and you get control over the outer ring overall, which makes it like a great general use LED par, but also gives you the ability to have multiple elements to it, have different looks as you go through your show, which I really like a lot about that unit. By the way, I'm using mostly Eliminator stuff in this show, but they haven't sponsored this in any way. I just think their stuff's cool and at a really valuable price, and you get a warranty with it. Okay, if you buy stuff direct from China, you're not going to get a warranty. I was just talking to somebody the other day. Actually, this is the outer ring now that I'm going to turn on, and that center LED, but the color mixing one. If you go ahead and you go and buy some stuff from China on Amazon, or you go direct, you might save money. You will save money compared to buying from an established brand like Eliminator or like ADJ or Chauvet or Blizzard. But the thing that Eliminator can offer you is they've got like entry-level stuff at reasonable prices that's built reasonably, and they handle the quality control, which is a big deal when you're talking about importing stuff from China. You can buy something that looks the same and then it arrives on your doorstep. I had somebody actually tell me about this the other day. They bought some new lights, can't even get DMX control of them. Not at all. Not even with a simple controller. They just don't work outside of auto mode. Number 2 thing you run into, I was talking to somebody last week about this actually, is when cheap imported lights, if you just import them yourself or buy them off of Amazon from a no-name brand, as they age, they don't age well. They had these pars, I think they were 3-4 years old, and all of them were missing multiple LEDs and colors of LEDs, and that made them really inconsistent and terrible looking. Well, I can't promise you that these Eliminators will not do the same. I really have faith in them. I've seen over the past few years, they've really upped their quality. I've seen that they make these products a lot nicer, and they really stand behind what they sell. Their goal, I've talked to the guy who runs the company, is to really go ahead and make something that you're going to have for a long time that's reasonably priced and has some cool features. So these guys on the back, again, you get that center big LED, and then you get those outer LEDs. And I'd put those behind the band usually so to give some people some cool backlight. And so what this doesn't factor in is that gets me to about $900, and then I've got an extra $100 for cables. Maybe you can find some used that will help for DMX cables. But this doesn't factor in a controller. And also, this looks great with atmosphere in the air, but if you don't have haze in the air, you're not going to see these beams of light, and it'll still work for like a typical band setting. But if you're a church or some other live production, then I've got a slightly different angle that I want to show to this rig. So as I mentioned, I have a second angle to this that I want to show. Again, same front light. By the way, on the last one I didn't mention, but I'll have links to the 2 rigs below. I'm hanging these literally on the speaker stands below the speakers that a band or a church or somebody else would have, so there's no cost there. But the backlight rig I had there was a Chauvet, basic DJ truss setup, and that's counted into the cost at $129. But what that last rig didn't have was a console, and it also didn't really optimize for when you don't have atmosphere in the air. And so while it looks cool for a band to have those lights behind them flashing and all that, if you're doing worship or if you're doing some other kind of presentation, you might want to go with something more like this, where I've got my 3 trio pars on the back wall. And the reason I went down to 3 and got rid of the truss setup behind is to buy a console. Okay. And I would buy Entex DMXs. For those who aren't familiar, I'll just pop it up quick. For those who aren't familiar, DMXs is just this really great little console where you literally just bring in your different lights. Like here could be my 4 pars. It's not hooked up, but it could be. So that could be my 4 pars, and then I could patch my LEDs. Like here's a red, green, blue LED. And you're just able to control stuff really easily. And you're able to run it alongside your band with a foot switch. And it's only like $300. It's a little less than $300 for DMXs. And to me, it's my best value in my mind for control, because At the end of the day, I talk about this a lot here, and I was just talking to somebody about this earlier. You can buy more lights, but at the end of the day, if you don't have great control over those lights, you're going to get a lot more value over learning how to control your lights as opposed to buying more. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. Here's what I would do if I had $1,000 and I needed to put together a lighting rig. Same if you're a DJ. I'd probably move that truss stand that I had in the last portion of it, and I'd probably move that right over the DJ table and use that to wash the dance floor. That's what they call that thing. Another option is Eliminator for the same price as a Trio Par RG. I'll link to that below. And it is a few less LEDs. It doesn't have that center one, but it puts a red-green laser in there, kind of DJ focused, but something you might be interested in. Regardless, either way, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and head over to Learn Stage Lighting. I've actually got a link to it right here. A gear guide for you. If you're watching this, you probably want to know what my top gear recommendations are in lighting. And I've assembled them all into a gear guide, and you can get it over at Learn Stage Lighting. I'll drop that link right here. Awesome. And then be sure to subscribe and like this video, and let me know below if you like this and what challenges you'd like to see. And I'll see you guys on our next lighting challenge. It should be next week here on the YouTube channel. Have a great day.